Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Kingdom Says podcast. I am your host, as always, Garrett Williams, and joining me today are my two usual co-hosts. We've got Kyle Henning. Kyle, how are you doing today, sir?
It is what? Is this Thursday? Is that what day it is? Good Lord.
Today
I have no idea.
is
They all run together.
Thursday.
It's a good day. We are, less than 48 hours from Chiefs football. So that's good news.
Yes, sir.
We
Chiefs
had
playoff
a
football.
nice, yes, Chiefs playoff football. I apologize. We had a nice, enjoyable, restful weekend. And it escaped healthy, minus McCole having that very problematic stomach abdomen illness issue, which I don't want to speculate too heavily on, but that sounds familiar to something that I'm familiar with. It's not great. And so that's a little bit of a downer. I'd like to see him back on the field, but hopefully he gets healthy. I'm not surprised about the IR news. Other than that, good day.
Good
Tom?
day indeed. Arrowhead Tom is also here. Tom, how you doing, sir?
I am doing well, guys. We've been sitting here, just to pull the curtain back, we've just been sitting here chatting about the podcasts and the future and all these other things, and just it's put me in a good mood. Yeah, we don't want to spoil too much, but just
no.
We made me excited for the future, and it's made me very appreciative of both of you gentlemen. So I'm excited to get in here and talk about it's a good time of the year. Playoffs are here. The draft is right around the corner. Less than 100 days, boys. Less than 100 boys.
Less than 100 days.
So, hey, and Tom, where is that?
Oh, the draft this year. It happens to be in Kansas City.
Ooh, that's
So
interesting.
I will be there.
Pertinent
You'll see
information.
I will not
Does that
be.
mean we will get to see your pretty red beard at a draft events and things in Kansas City?
My beard is not red, but yes, I will be there.
Sir,
over
there is
it.
video evidence that says otherwise. Would you like to
That is just-
somebody tell him the difference between the color of my
look at
hat
it.
and the color of
Look
his
at
face?
it. It's right there. It's
Listen,
red.
it's just the reflection. It's a tent. It's a lighting issue. Okay, we're working on
It's an
it.
optical illusion. What
Sorry.
isn't an
We still
optical
love you.
illusion?
I
can say.
appreciate the ginger beard. I think you should accentuate it more.
So it's the Red Friday beard. That's what it is.
There we go.
The Red
It's a little
Friday,
early.
because you will
By
be
the time
listening
you're
to
seeing
this
this,
on
it'll be Red
Yeah.
Friday. So it'll be
Yeah, so shout out. But yeah, I know one thing that's not an optical illusion, guys, and that's the Jacksonville Jaguars, because they are the Chiefs'
Chargers
divisional.
exist.
Yeah,
I was saying,
they are
you know who might be an optical illusion? Whenever the Chargers are leading
the
in a
Chargers,
football game.
a good
Joe
football team.
Lombardi.
Yeah.
Oh, at least
Yes.
his job is an optical illusion now.
So if you guys missed it this past Super Wild Card weekend, the Jaguars played the Chargers in the Wild Card round, where they came. What was it? What deficit was it? 27-0?
27-0.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's the largest in postseason history, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think
Atlanta
so.
was 24-3.
No, they were 28-3.
Still 25 points, not 27.
Yeah. So,
And
It's up there. I think
Houston
What was
was
the-
24-0 in less than 10 minutes.
I
but
think
what
the
was
only
the
one-
Colts Chiefs game? Because I think they were
Colts-Chiefs game.
28.
That game
so
was
they-
like 87-86. Everybody scored. No one was.
No,
stopped.
I think the Chiefs had a 38-10 lead.
Was that
at
right?
one point.
Was it
There's a
28?
certain point. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
I'm
I think
pretty
it's,
sure.
Did they
Well, you
also have their
opened that
whole team
one.
get hurt on defense? Because that's what happened to the Chiefs in that playoff game.
No, I know, but you're the one who listen. You opened
I don't
that
know what
wound
happened to the
for
Chargers
Yeah, I
in
know.
the
anybody
playoff
who-
It's
game,
also,
but
it's also, guess what? Brandon Staley has done this about
Brandon Staley,
85
Jesus,
times
jeez.
now. So
Congrats
it'd
on
be
your next-
different if this was the first freaking time. But I also
Congrats
have
to
the
Brandon
receipts on
Staley, by the
Twitter
way.
where everybody and their mother told me that game was over before halftime, and I went, wait. It's the Chargers.
It's
It's
the Chargers.
nowhere
Listen.
near over.
we
I
will say
tweeted
this.
it.
We will say this
Yeah.
about Brandon Staley. Congrats on retaining your head coaching gig for next year. We are very excited for you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Very excited to keep Brandon Staley in the division.
It's been it's
Sucks
been
for
a
losing
great
Derek
Week
Carr, though.
18
Really
first
sucks
year-
for losing
first
Derek
week of the-
Carr.
Yes, but we kept Josh McDaniels because they can't afford to
We
fire him.
kept Josh McDaniels. That is plus. We kept Russell Wilson.
Uh,
Plus.
It's good to be in the AFC West, but we don't want to get too far off topic.
No, stay on
Yeah.
track
The
here.
Jaguars.
Yeah. So the Jaguars came back, absolutely showed the world that they have some star power still. Trevor Lawrence still hasn't lost on a Saturday in his entire life. I guess that's a
Yeah.
stat. That's
I'd
real
like
stat.
to see the stats on his middle school and elementary school days.
That's really dive into it. How many 7-on-7 games was he playing on Saturdays? There's no way. You know what I'm saying?
lot. There's been
no
a
way.
lot of 7-on-7 drills in that kid's lifetime.
Exactly. There's no way he won every single game. But yeah, they kind of showed the world that they are at least about business. That they aren't a fluky
Doug
team.
Peterson, huh? What do you know?
Hey, shout out Doug Peterson going from the number 1 overall pick in the draft this year to being in the playoffs and winning a playoff game on the road. Like, that's pretty dang good.
We talked about the dude, and I told you, we talked about that game last episode. I said, I don't trust Brandon Staley against Doug Peterson in a close game, and there's no way this game isn't close. And what happened? They do it all the time. Ask their fan base. Go ask all 14 of them.
It is incredible. It is uncanny. It predates.
We knew it was coming.
Brandon. It predates Brandon Staley though. Like it's just always been.
That touchdown before half, Tom. As soon as they gave up that touchdown before half, tell me you didn't look at that and go, they're gonna lose.
Here we go. Yep.
I mean, you have to at least check the live bet odds at that point.
Oh God, I'm so mad at myself. I stared at the live odds on Jacksonville that were like at plus 2,000 or whatever it was when they were down 27-0.
Just throw $10.
I should have emptied the clip. I should have just emptied the whole bankroll because I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
They do it all the time.
But this is not a Chargers podcast, so as much as we've reveled in that,
because we didn't even talk about the part where the Raiders have now no quarterback, a potential Tom Brady story for all of the offseason, maybe Aaron Rodgers.
Or Aaron Rodgers.
And the Broncos exist.
Yeah.
And this was the division that spent like $2 billion to make this team not make the playoffs this offseason, and now we're playing Jacksonville at home.
Yeah. So Jacksonville, I mean, here's the thing. I think the biggest takeaway from the Jaguars-Chargers game for me, how much of it was the Jaguars playing well, or how much was it the Chargers just shooting themselves in the foot? You know, you got some of both in there for sure. I think there was tons of mistakes that the Chargers ended up making, especially in the second half, that left the door open. I mean, it left the door
Austin freaking Eckler with a 27-point lead. Run the ball.
Well,
crazy.
So yeah, I mean, I think, and this will probably bleed into our preview here, but with Jacksonville in that position that they were in, that they were in, like Doug Peterson is a fearless coach. And you put him in a corner, you give him a reason to do crazy, wild stuff, like call a run play on 4th and 1 to an outside run play, mind you. That puts you in field goal position.
Crackdown block by a wide receiver that did not get called because it happened just inside the tackle box. He got a free first down for 18 yards, the clock to run, and a walk-in field goal that he almost missed.
Yes. So all of that to say, that's something to be mindful of in the matchup with the Chiefs is if they jump out to an early lead, this is not a team that's going to lay down and go home. And so one of the biggest issues that Kansas City's had all year are those second half performances where it kind of looks like they take the foot off the gas a little bit. So it's a good test for Andy, especially because Dougie P was on the staff, right? It's one of Andy's guys. And, Andy has a tendency to have a little bit of soft spot. Maybe he lets up a little bit. He doesn't want to embarrass his colleagues. But
didn't Doug beat him to a Super Bowl?
He did. Technically, yeah. He did.
By 1 year, yes.
In the place where Andy was before.
Yeah.
That's kind of not something that I think Andy's going to just forget about, even no matter how much he likes Doug. I don't know that I would spot the Chiefs 5 turnovers in the first half.
I would certainly not spot the Chiefs.
I don't think you're going to end up with just 27 points if you use that method. That seems low. I'd expect at least 30.
I will say Tom does bring up a good point about the fact that the Jaguars are kind of playing with house money, coming into this game. Like
That's the dangerous team, man.
Yeah, they've won this season already. Their fan base is already satisfied. They've won a playoff game. Trevor Lawrence is the future. They've got a bright future ahead of them in the AFC. The Chiefs have all the pressure on them. Obviously, having an underdog like this come in, having the season that they've had, looking to get to another AFC championship game. Like, there's the Jaguars, you cannot play down to them like that we've kind of seen other opponents this year, because they are a team that really has nothing to lose.
I would very much like this team not to come out and sleepwalk their way through the first half of this game.
Sure, would be nice, wouldn't it?
Now, and hopefully we'll see that. We'll see that sense of urgency.
Here's my thing. They're coming off a bye, right? They had a bye week. Andy sent him home for a week, told him to get healthy, rest up. The only one that wasn't able to was McColl. He rested up. He tried to get healthy. It didn't work out. He's not going to play Saturday. Jesus. Sorry. Days of the week. They got to stop moving games around like this. It's everywhere.
I know. For real.
McColl's the only one not playing for sure. We don't expect to see Joey or Clyde because they're just now coming off. Our scout says hello, and he would like to interject himself.
Hi,
As
Scout.
normal.
He always does. I apologize.
He's fine. He's part of the show and family too at this point. We expect it. Mine's on vacation at his grandma's enjoying some time away, so he's not making any noise in the area this evening. But with those three, you still have a good majority of the weapons you've had all year. You still have what should be your running game. And on your staff, you have that team's defensive coordinator from last year. So I want to ask this to you both. How important does that factor in? How much does that weigh in? And how much does he help this offense attack this defense because he knows the personnel so well?
Scout, you have the floor.
Scout has actually joined the podcast now.
Scout is making his first appearance visible. It's not a blurry
first visible appearance
in the background. It's the first time visible.
So he's just decided to come. He's going to be a lapdog for a minute. So to answer your question, while my dog tries to stick his tongue in my face, he's definitely familiar with the personnel, and most importantly, I think on Jacksonville's defense, like their strongest point is some of those guys up front. Josh Allen has had a pretty good, the Jacksonville one obviously had a pretty good development second half of the season. He's a guy that we probably need to worry about because he is a top tier athlete, and he is somebody who, if he gets hot, he stays hot. They've got the number one overall pick in Trayvon Walker, who, while Colin's not familiar with, I'm sure there's some things and there's some carryover there in that room. So I don't know in terms of like the game how much it'll be a huge effective or game plan, but it is nice to know, I think with Colin at least, on the Josh Allen front, like he probably knows that kid pretty well and probably taught him a couple of things, and hopefully didn't teach him too well last year, and maybe there's some things we can exploit.
I hope he didn't teach him how to beat slow left tackles.
Yeah, hopefully not.
As long as they have their left guard, that slow left tackle is usually not as slow off the edge.
That's true. But that is a matchup nightmare for the Chiefs as well.
Yeah, it's not my favorite matchup on Saturday.
They got Caleb Chasen on the other side. They have a couple other young guys. They have a couple of good guys in the middle. Like it's definitely a fiery kind of defense at the Jaguars, and they've always had kind of a chippy defense for a while. Back to like the Miles Jack days and stuff like that. Oh, Tom has disappeared.
Is that what we're calling that? We're calling that the chippy defense? Is that what we're doing?
Something like that, I would say. Tom's back.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Scott decided that we were going to exit the studio. So
he said, "What's this button do?"
Yeah, he did. That was the exact moment.
He did nose bonk and said bye-bye.
Yeah. But no, the Jaguars, they've always had just some, like, a very, chippy, I called it. Defense. Yeah, exactly. A very on edge. Yeah, that's a great way to describe it.
Is that why Cisco had to reach out and apologize for trying to decapitate Juju for no particular reason in Week 10?
Yeah, we did hear about that from Juju. At least there's no, at least Cisco's kind of owned up to it. But yeah, I don't know why, but it's always whenever the Chiefs play the Jaguars, it always just ends up being super fiery. I think to a couple years ago when we played them in like week 2 or whatever, and Chris Jones broke Nick Foles' shoulder.
Mean the day we retired that guy, and then
the last game of Nick Foles' good career.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's always there's always some kind of big matchup, and the defense, yeah.
He said something crazy in his presser today. I'm sure that's probably going to get a fine. I don't know if y'all heard that or not. I don't have the exact quote, so I won't repeat it fully. But Chris said something wild in the press conference.
He said something wild. Yeah, so the defensive side, for Jacksonville, definitely something to look forward or watch out for. Their corners, I mean, they have some couple decent corners that have some experience in the league, but I don't know. I like our wide receiver matchup personally. I don't know how you guys are feeling about the wide receivers in this game, but having Juju, obviously McColl not being there is a big one, but Kadarius Toney still getting play. I think he'll have a really big game, honestly. Sky Moore should be in line to get some more rep. Hopefully no more Justin Watson, maybe. I'm not sure, but maybe
just less. I don't even care about none, but less Justin Watson?
At least less, yeah.
I don't know how much you're going to see Sky. I'll be 100% honest with you. It's the playoffs, and it's not next season, and Andy doesn't like rookie wide receivers if he doesn't have to, and I love Sky. I want to see him get some play. I just don't know that we're going to. I hope we do.
Think they're just going to open the bag up, and we'll just see
if he opens the bag up, there are literally no rules.
Yeah, I think we'll just see him in
bag is
measured
getting
doses.
opened.
It's going to be all very designed stuff. I don't think they're going to have him running a lot of routes or anything like, trying to be the primary option.
A lot of manufactured
But,
stuff, which, hey, you just got to get him integrated somehow.
I also have
and he may also be with him and Tony. Like, I think that Sky and Tony are going to kind of work in tandem to be those distraction pieces, and they'll probably be distractions from each other too, right? When you're playing that defense and moving people around.
I hope they don't run that jet sweep with Sky and they run it with Kadarius.
Kadarius isn't
because his speed is just a different gear than what Sky has, and it's not a knock on Sky,
but also Kadarius Toney's like body control and like he's
as Patrick Mahomes described it, one of the most freakish lateral athletes I've ever been around, and I had Tyreek Hill.
I'm not sure who tweeted out, but
that's tweeted. That's a quote. I'm not making that up. He said that in a press conference.
No, I'm saying there's another it was Nate Tice.
Oh yeah. Nate's a great follow on Twitter, by the way. Fantastic at some of the film breakdown he does. He's really good at all that good stuff. If you are not following Nate, he's an excellent follow.
Yeah, but he basically just highlighted a video actually from the Jaguars game last time of Kadarius Toney just having that different kind of movement. So
quick, it's ridiculous.
He's
stopped, and then he is changing direction and at
shifty.
Full speed in about an eighth of a second, and it's like how?
I say this carefully and with respect to the person who previously held this moniker.
I agree with you.
But Kadarius Toney is a human joystick.
He's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that's again coming, and this is nothing personal. I love the dude. I would take him back in a second, and I'm sure he'd probably rather be here right now than in South Beach. But it is what it is. He's an absolutely gifted human in every aspect of a physical specimen. The dude has pogo sticks for legs. He can turn on a dime, and he's the fastest human on earth until somebody shows me otherwise that's not named Usain Bolt. Okay. Good on that. He's also maybe the fastest human on a football field ever. And that's not even his 40 time at the combine. Kadarius Toney, we got for a bag of Cheetos again. And he's a complete difference maker in like 3 facets of the game. What was the big issue with special teams this year?
Return game, catching punts.
Catch a punt. Catch the punt.
Just catch it. Just catch the punt.
All you gotta do is catch it.
So now when we get punts or kicks, what happens? Everybody gets excited. Why? Not because they're worried about somebody catching the football, because they're worried he might break one.
Yeah, that's not even a thought in our minds anymore about catching the ball being a problem.
6 weeks ago, we did 45 minutes on this podcast about catching a punt.
That's
true.
Yeah. Very valid.
How fast does that change?
So overall, offensively, I think the Chiefs are gonna unload the bag of tricks. They're gonna really show. They're not gonna come out lightly. They're gonna come out and make a statement, just like Jacksonville is gonna want to do. Like they are gonna prove that, hey, we are still a top team in this league. This is easy it is. We're gonna drive right down the field.
Not laying down for this.
No. This is gonna be. I mean, I dare say it might be a shootout, but.
I don't know that I would recommend the Trevor Lawrence method of media this week, but to each their own. Would love to get Tom's thoughts on that statement from the quarterback who's played in Arrowhead. Was he in Arrowhead on the week 10? Was that at home or was that in Jacksonville?
Yeah, that was at home. Yeah.
That was in Arrowhead? Okay.
Not in Arrowhead, yeah.
Well, let me tell you a secret for anybody that hasn't heard it. I don't think it's going to be the same decibel level on Saturday that it was in week 10.
No.
If I were to guess.
I'll say about that quote, though, too. I think people are making it a little, are blowing it up a little bit. It's really just Trevor Lawrence trying to compliment his fan base, if anything. Like, hey man, I think people.
He was all good until he said the last part. He was all good all the way up until that but at the end, and then.
Yeah, it'll just. Hey, you know what? It's just another one of those. Write it down in the notes. Pat sitting there. Writing it down.
Well, and here's the thing.
Sitting there.
If you've not been, first of all, the fan base is petty about this type of stuff. Don't challenge the noise level at Arrowhead ever. Nope. This is a point of pride. This is a collective point of pride. But also,
ammo to the most insecure fan base in the NFL.
It's true. But also, if you go and if you're at a Chiefs game and the guys who are running those video boards, they know exactly how. There's a reason why you see it everywhere. 142.2. There's a point of pride, and if I were an opposing player coach, anything, I would just never comment
I would
on
not
it
test
ever,
it.
other than,
Yeah, I would just
damn,
not
that's
test it.
really loud. That's all you need to say.
Before we started this episode, boys, did you guys see McColl's tweet?
Yeah.
He'd never seen the Elway clip.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy to me, but I also get it because a lot of these young guys don't like. I don't think he was born when that clip took place.
Probably not. Yeah, probably not.
And he's like, "That can't be real." Oh no, bud, that's 100% real.
Yeah, and
that's
Trevor Lawrence.
The difference between Arrowhead in a playoff game in prime time, even though I think this one's at like 3:00 or whatever.
Yeah.
And Arrowhead and that was a Monday night or a Sunday night against Elway and a division rival in a division game with one of the nastiest defenses in their own end zone. Like, good luck, have fun.
Yeah, safe to say it's going to be pretty rowdy Saturday as well.
And you challenged them, so now all bets are off.
It's going to be way more rowdy than it was week 10. So just be warned, you were warned.
Well, and I think it's been, I don't know if you guys saw this. So Juan tweeted this morning, Juan Thornhill. He said, "We need to break this 142.2 decibels record this year. What do you guys think?" Hashtag Chiefs Kingdom. So it's definitely a point of conversation.
Oh, they heard it. That clip got like a billion minutes of run in about 8 seconds on YouTube when he said it.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, you're testing your fate going at it. So Arrowhead, obviously we know that they're going to show up. The offense, I think, is going to show up. I dare say it was going to be a shootout this game, but that depends entirely. Jones quote. Let's hear it.
Now, I'm not 100% sure he's going to get fined for it, but it's a good one. He's always good for quotes. Chris Jones on getting a sack in the postseason. It's not a huge priority, but I'm going to get one just to shut you guys up. I will give you one guess as to who you guys is.
Certain Adam T, maybe.
Certain press corps. I don't know who asked the question exactly, but a certain press corps basically just got told, "Yeah, I do more than just sack the quarterback in the playoffs, but just for you guys so we can stop having this discussion every 5 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and get at least one tomorrow, Saturday."
And so that's a great transition into how do we think the defense is going to fare? Seeing this Jacksonville team for a second time this year, obviously we're coming off a really good defensive performance off versus the Raiders. Obviously that's Jarrett Stidham versus Trevor Lawrence, but it's not like there's a little bit different. But I mean, you still got a lot of good weapons on the Raiders that you're going to see in Jacksonville.
Play for the Jaguars, conveniently enough, like Zay Jones.
Yeah, exactly. You got Zay Jones. You got obviously Travis Etienne in the backfield. I mean, you got Christian Kirk. You got Evan Ingram, who's sneakily been a really good pickup for them.
That dude made money this year.
Yeah, I don't know how much they got him for or what they signed him for.
A one-year deal for like nothing.
Yeah, too little. I was a big Evan Ingram fan for a while.
BJ Kissel of KCSN was talking about that the other day. I don't remember which episode of which show it was, but I remember him saying that dude is on a contract for like packing peanuts for 1 year.
Yeah, and he has already outlived that one for sure. So what do we think, fellas, is kind of going to be the biggest talking point of this Chiefs defense going into this game? Are we concerned about any locations?
Yeah, you don't want to sleep on this Jacksonville offense because they're not the same team that you saw in Week 10 in terms of their chemistry together. I think even their tackles have taken a step forward in development. Walker Little has been
as advertised.
Yeah, he's been a steal for them
this year. He's been great. Probably better than advertised, honestly.
So I think that it's going to be about pressure, but you have to mix it up. You can't. I think the simple pressures that like Trevor Lawrence is a smart football dude, right? And Doug Peterson knows. Again, we talked about the familiarity with Joe Cullen and the Jacksonville people.
Doug knows Steve.
Doug knows Steve, right? Like those guys have a long history. So there's going to be some things. We'll see how deep in the bag that Steve Spagnuolo goes. But I think the middle of the offense, right? Chris Jones, and I'm not saying this because we just talked about Chris Jones, but there's some opportunities for him to win some matchups. I think that we have to see George Karlaftis is just going to have to do his thing. He's got to work and get get some pressure. Trevor he has all the physical tools, but he is prone to making mistakes. I think that he has been so used to dominating at every level before. Like now the windows are a little bit tighter, and that's where you see some of those turnovers. He had 4 turnovers last week. Now they'll work on that. That'll be a point of emphasis for them. But if we can get them into some more of those stakes, and that's really just kind of rushing, getting his internal clock to speed up. We don't have to get a sack. But also the Chiefs have not had a lot of games where they've had multiple turnovers, and our secondary, again, younger guys, they're going to have to work for that. And I think that the wide receiver, the weapons that the Jacksonville Jaguars have could make for a long day for the Chiefs because Travis Etienne is fast. He's got some speed on him. And so I think I don't know, I don't remember how much of effect he had on that first game. I'm trying to think back to it. It just feels like an eternity ago. But
they had 75 rushing yards in that game. He had 11 for 45 and 3 for 28 receiving.
Yeah. So again, they've clicked as an offense, and really, again, not the same team. When the Chiefs saw the Jaguars in Week 10, they were 3-7.
They also allowed 5 sacks to this defense.
Yeah. So
But Jacksonville won the turnover battle because we had multiple fumbles that game.
Yeah. So we're gonna not. Again, we hope that they don't play that. And then I do think, they just have to. The turnovers are going to be key either way. I
would really like to see them not be a minus in the playoffs in the turnover column. If we could avoid it, that would be
great. Yeah. Just to remind people, so the receivers were
Mr. Belligerent.
Oh, hi,
Scott's
buddy.
reminding people that he exists.
Yeah, he was laying down.
I am here.
Just to remind people, Scout is still in the room with me. I couldn't find him off with anybody else for the show, but the receivers did do pretty well last time. 9 for 105 and 2 touchdowns from Christian Kirk, and then 8 for 68 from Zay Jones. And it'll be a little bit different. I don't think we had McDuffie back at that point, but we'll see how those matchups play out.
He had just come back. That was the game before the bye week, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, so no, he didn't come back till after the bye week.
Right, which means he would have missed that game.
Yeah. So it might be it'll be interesting to see how those play out. Especially, I think Christian Kirk is the type of receiver that he's shifty and kind of gives has historically given the Chiefs some issues. But
they paid that dude a ton of money, and a lot of people, including myself, made some jokes about that contract. And he has actually done pretty well. He's
actually not been terrible. It went from a massive.
It's amazing what getting rid of Urban Meyer will do for you.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, we should do that more often.
Yeah, that is the Jaguars' Todd Haley story, ain't it?
Yeah, the Jaguars. Listen, shout out to the Jaguars fans because they have had a rough go of it,
and some of those players that stuck around and
especially some of those players, and especially with all the stuff that you heard front office and ownership and all that. Yeah. So, anything else we got for the game?
Yeah, man, just play a clean game. Just be clean. I don't need anything insane. You don't have to. I would prefer you pull out your A-game play call sheet. You probably don't need it. You probably need a B+ one. That's okay. I would still prefer you roll the A one out. Can we just do the little things? Execute the little stuff, and everything else will take care of itself. I do expect Chris Jones to make the rest of his contract extension in this game.
I expect Chris Jones, yes.
Please just isolate him in your best matchup and let him kill whoever's in front of him and then let everybody else eat around him, please. That's the game where he had 1.5. Like Colin had 1. I think Dana had 1. They got sacks from literally friggin' everybody that game. Willie Gay had 1. Chris Jones had 1.5. Leo Chenal had 1. Colin had 1. Like, I'll take that all over again, please.
Yeah. We just
need
that.
A lot of that was created by 95 being an absolute menace. So play clean. Don't shoot yourself in the foot. No special team stupidity, please. Everybody's had time to get healthy and focus and narrow in on what they need to do and just do their things. And no ball markers or anything weird. Just go out, execute the game, and move on to either Atlanta or Arrowhead next week. That's my hope for the weekend. Have a nice execution-based game. I don't care if it's perfect. It's not going to be. I understand that. The other team gets paid too, but just be consistent and try to be clean. And win the turnover battle, for God's sake.
Very true. Tom, any closing remarks about this game before we get some score predictions and get out of here?
Two pieces on offense. Kadarius Toney, Isaiah Pacheco. If those guys are successful, the Chiefs will have a very healthy start to their postseason.
Especially the second one in the second half. Give me 10 time in the second half all day long.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'll just say to add to both those points, I think don't let the pressure get to you. We've been there before. Obviously, this is just another game. There's a lot at stake, obviously, but don't gotta stress about this one really. Like, just take it easy, relax, do your job, just show up.
That silly phrase that all the players, Spags has all the players using in every freaking press conference, and EB does too. Do your 111 or whatever it was last year.
It is something like that. Yeah, it's a good
one.
one.
Well, guys, there's 22 of you at
do your 111th, right? Yeah.
Whatever. I know 11 of you on the field at one time, but hey, let's do whatever. Everybody do their own job, and let's get out of Arrowhead as healthy as possible, and go figure out who we're playing, please.
Yeah, and I have a lot of confidence in the guys to do that. So. Yeah,
I'm confident, although I'm not going to give you a score prediction that's absurd. I think this game's actually a decent football game. Most of the second weekend games tend to be a lot better games than the first weekend games. The first weekend usually tends to just be a giant, it should be on red zone 24/7 because it's on drugs special. I think this game's something like 31-27, and Kansas City leaves with that. And they don't cover, but they win. And they get out with the win and go play an AFC title game either against Cincinnati or Buffalo.
I like that. I like that a lot. Tom, what do you got for us?
Oh, okay. I'm going to go 34-21 Kansas City. Obviously, I don't want to pick against them. I was just consulting with Scout. He agrees. So I think I think the Chiefs will hopefully jump out to a lead, and then you just got to be ready for the Jaguars to throw everything in the kitchen sink at you. And
they will definitely do that. Doug does not typically hold bullets.
Yeah, he's not going to hold back, and he's already, by the way, he's talking. He's ready to roll. So just got to be prepared for an aggressive Jaguars team.
Did you catch the onside kick comments back and forth between him and Tobe?
I did not, but I'm ready for it.
Somebody asked Peterson if they were going to try another onside kick to start the game, and he goes, well, that would kind of lose the element of surprise now, wouldn't it? And Tobe goes, I bet you they don't try that on the first kickoff again. In other words, we'll be sitting there waiting for it if you try it.
Let's see you do it right there.
That was a nice little, I'm going to go ahead and take this out of your bag before the game even starts from both head coaches. They were both like, we're not doing that again. Also, that Week 10 game was the game where we won the toss and picked the wrong freaking thing, wasn't it?
That sounds like something the Chiefs would do. I'm not sure.
I'm fairly certain one of the captains accidentally made the wrong decision off of a one coin toss that game, and that's
it was a staple only weird games.
It was a staple. Yeah, it just cannot be like that again. I will say this about the game.
Crazy.
I think the coaching staffs. We talked about it a little bit, but that is a big factor of that. Just tons of experience on all sides of the ball. This isn't a situation where you have a young head coach in Brandon Staley, or you have, you're in a different like Brian Daboll, or just a younger head coach who kind of.
The only reason I was sad the Chargers did eventually blow that game to the Jaguars is
exactly because it would have been so much easier sailing than what we have here. Because obviously Doug Peterson, the Jaguars, they've been there before.
The Chargers 3 times in a year seems unfun.
Yeah, but the Jaguars, Doug Peterson, they've been there before. The coaching staff has been there before.
That's fair.
They have playoff experience, so they're not going to go down easy. They know how the environment kind of feels like in a playoff atmosphere, what the big decisions to make are. So with that being said, I think I'm going to go 30-21 Chiefs, ending it out there. I don't think it's going to be a crazy shootout of a game, but the Jaguars are definitely going to get theirs still. You can guarantee that. And Chiefs are obviously going to, I think, do their thing pretty well, at least get to the third, fourth quarter and have a comfortable lead and hopefully a pretty stress-free weekend for all of Chiefs Kingdom.
What's the highest decibel level in the stadium on Saturday?
140.9. Yeah, I think so. I don't know how
Hey,
they should
man,
get the
they
Guinness
broke
World
glass
Record guys back in there.
getting ready for a world record. Connie posted that picture today. Shout out, by the way. She's an awesome Twitter follow. Also, she's been a Chief fan for like a long time and has all of the history stuff for anybody that wants it. She puts all kinds of cool stuff out.
Yeah. So, anyways, guys, we will get you out of here on this fine Friday that you, or whenever you guys are listening to. It's probably before the game. So, thank you all so much for tuning in and watching. If you are just listening, you can watch us on YouTube, the Kingdom Says podcast. If you're watching us on YouTube or wanting to,
Tom's big red beard.
Yes, it's proof right there. Actually, you can see it. It's red.
More
But if you're watching,
you can see Scout.
or you can see
yeah,
Scout,
you definitely get doggy appearances.
you can see a great lot of things here. Or if you want to just listen, of course, follow us. Apple Music, Spotify, all that stuff. Everywhere you get your podcasts at.
Please.
Yeah, maybe leave us a like. Maybe leave us a nice review or
If
rating.
you drop
all that
us
good
a
stuff.
review, we'll try to read it.
Yeah. So
We'll
be sure to follow us.
checking those again.
If you leave
Be
a
sure to follow
review,
us.
I will
Behind
DM
the
you a
scenes.
picture of my beard.
Follow
And
Arrowhead
we will
Tom.
try to claim it's not red.
At Arrowhead Tom, at Arrowhead Tom's Redbeard, at K1016, at Garrett20, and of course,
that might be I like it.
And then of course, obviously at Kingdom Says Pod on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And we will see you guys next week for a hopefully very lively and eventful show leading up to the AFC Championship game. Peace.